Konnichiwa, this is the Shogunstein. This is Lover of the Light, Mumford and Sons, being played for one of the first times, 2010, June, the Rhythm Room, Phoenix, about 200 people, paid $10. That was the first time I saw Mumford and Sons live. Today I'm going to be reviewing their latest release, Rushmere, their new record, first record in a long time. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the record. Also going to give you some thoughts on some other things regarding Mumford and Sons. Before I get into my review and my thoughts, I do just want to put it out there for everyone, just my kind of background with the band. I know you kind of lose an argument as soon as you got to give your resume, but I've been with this band for a long time. Started listening in 2010 before Sigh No More came out. And a buddy who worked in the UK. He liked UK music. He gave me a CD full of some new bands. Heard a little Lion Man for the first time. Played it nonstop in my car for like a half hour straight. Looked up the video for The Cave. I was in. Sigh No More came out. That's one of my favorite albums of all time. A++ album. And I've been a fan of Mumford and Sons ever since. Saw them at the Rhythm Room, tiny little club here in Phoenix. A few months later, I saw them in Tempe, part of the Railroad Revival Tour. They stopped at Tempe, Old Crow Medicine Show, Wagon Wheel, before Darius, Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, great band also, and Mumford and Sons. I believe the Tempe stop was the largest crowd of the whole tour. They had about 12,000 people. So they went from about 200 people, and this is less than a year, to 12,000 people. I was at the Railroad Revival Tour. On heading out, when I was leaving Tempe, I remember heading towards the highway, and I passed the cars full of sorority girls from ASU, and they were blasting the Cave, singing out loud. That's when I knew Mumford was huge. Have all their records, been to 5 concerts, saw them on 75th. That pavilion keeps changing names. Saw them live there twice. Last time I saw them was on the Delta tour, and that was the concert where Gang of Youths was supposed to open. Something happened where they couldn't open, and then The Sun Never Sets on the Cool Kids opened for Mumford, and that is Mumford. They came out in disguise and they did covers. They did Girls Just Want to Have Fun. They did Atlantic City. They did a bunch of covers. It was awesome. They played for almost an hour as The Sun Never Sets on the Cool Kids. Then they came out and played, almost 2.5 hours on the Delta music. So I've been a fan of Mumford and Son for a long time. Again, I'm just showing that I'm not someone that just joined the Agora for a discount code or just became a fan recently. I've been there from the beginning. I hate to sound like that guy. There's always that guy in high school that was like, oh, I liked REM or I liked U2 in the beginning. Mumford and Sons is one of the only bands I can say I was there from the beginning. I am a huge fan. Sigh No More, A+, one of my favorite albums of all time. Just to, again, give you some perspective. Babel, the deluxe edition with Where Are You Now? I gotta say, the deluxe edition. That, A++. Those are 2 of my favorite albums of all time. Now, the next thing I'm gonna say here, keep in mind, I understand a band cannot make the same record over and over again. So when Wilder Minds came out, I gotta be honest, when I first heard Believe, I wasn't into it. I really thought it sounded a little too much like Coldplay or something like that. I understood they couldn't make the same, Stomp and Holler record over and over again, but I didn't like Wilder Minds at first. But I gotta say, over time, I really, really like that album, and I'm glad they did it. It took me a while to appreciate what they did with that record, but I love it. It has some of my favorite Mumford and Sons songs. But I want to put it out there that, at first, it was so radically different from the Stomp and Holler that I didn't know how to handle it. Now, Delta, I have more mixed feelings on. It has some fantastic songs on there. It also has some of my least favorite Mumford and Sons songs. So Delta's kind of hit or miss with me. I love Delta. There are other songs on there that are just absolutely beloved. Just there's a Rose of Shadow. I really like the some of the songs on Delta. Then there are some songs on Delta I don't like. So I have mixed feelings about Delta. Seeing them do the songs live was fantastic. That tour with The Sun Never Sets on the Cool Kids. So A+ on Sigh No More. A+ on Babel. Those will remain two of my favorite records of all time. Wilder Minds will be a record that I really like, but will always be a record that I never fully appreciated as much as I should have. And it grows on me each time I play. It has some of my favorite Mumford and Sons songs. Hard for me to give a review to Delta just because, I'm so yin and yang on that record. So I can't give that one a grade. Now, Rushmere. It's been a while. We got a new record here. So I want to give my thoughts here on Rushmere. Been playing it a lot. I was on a long bus ride to Albuquerque from Phoenix, and I got to play it quite a bit on that drive. Been listening to it. Surprised at how short it is. It's like 35 minutes on the playtime. So it's a short record. You got 10 songs. And so I'm going to go through this here. And again, so I've been a fan a long time. Malibu, fantastic song. Absolutely fantastic song. Love it. Caroline, love it. Great song. Rushmere, love it. Great song. Monochrome, great song. Slow, different from the other three, but really like it. Truth, oh my goodness. Fantastic song. Fantastic song. Okay, so that's 5 songs that I really like. So I'm an old person. I'm Generation X. I'm an album person. I'm someone that likes a whole record. I didn't have iTunes growing up. You couldn't, we had singles, could buy 45. But I'm a whole album guy. I'm someone that judges things by a whole album. So right there, we got 5 great songs. So on a record, if you had 5 great songs, I think that's a good number. 5 songs that are fantastic on a record, that's really good. The problem for me with Mumford is those first 2 records, and even to some extent Wilder Minds, there's almost every song on those records, especially the first 2. I love every song on those records. So 5 songs, as much as it is, compared to the entire record, that's something to keep in mind. Now, Truth, fantastic. Where It Belongs, slow. Like it, but slow. Now, here's where I'm going to get maybe a little controversial. 34 minutes is not a long time on this record to begin with. But let's just say that they put out an EP and not this whole record. If they'd put out 6 songs, these first 6 songs, I'd be like, that's a fantastic EP. I love every song on it. My issue with this record is Anchor. Surrender's a good song, but it's also slow. Blood on the Page, Carry On. They're slow. The record really slows down. Now, Carry On, I think, is a very nice song. Surrender, as it keeps going, I think gets better. But Where It Belongs is slow. I like it. I do like this song, but it's slow. Then Anchor is slow. Surrender's a good song. It's slow. Blood on the Page is slow. Carry On is slow. I think the record slows down too much at the end. So again, I don't know, maybe if it's the placement. I just think that I really like, let's say, the first, a little more than half of the record more than I like the last part of the record. Again, Carry On, I think, is a very nice song. Surrender's a nice song. Where It Belongs is a nice song. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slow songs in a row, I think it just slowed the record down too much. So in terms of a grade, And I'm so glad that there's a new Mumford record out. And it's got 3 of the 4 guys, and I'll get into that in a second. So Marcus put out his solo record. I enjoyed 2 or 3 of the songs in that solo record a lot. I didn't like the rest of the record. To me, a lot of that stuff was a little too slow. And that's the problem I have here. So in terms of a grade, again, if I was going to say Sigh No More is A+, I'm going to say Babel Deluxe is A++. And I'm going to go Wilder Mine as a B+, A-, and that one still grows on me. Delta, again, I have a hard time reviewing because there's some great songs on there, and then just some ones that I don't like. Rushmere, to me, and I'm glad they made it, and again, I understand they can't make the same Stomp and Holler record all the time. To me, is a B, B-. Again, if this record was an EP and it stopped at track 6, it would be an A. I just, these songs here at the end, they're just a little too, so there's too much slow in a row. And here's again where some people, again, if you're someone in the fan club that's been there for a year or two, maybe you're going to take some issue with this. And there's going to be maybe people are going to say, oh, I keep bringing this up. I think the record misses Winston. I think it really does need, it needs, a song like, Broken Crown. It needs a song like Delta. It needs a song that Dust Bowl, that needs that big, epic, loud song on there. It needs that song that I think it's just missing. It's like 1 or 2 songs away from where I would like it to be. Again, very pleasant album. I've listened to it a bunch of times, but I think it's missing Winston. It really is. And again, going back to being a fan of this band from the beginning, when they were first coming out, this is even before I caught them in the Rhythm Room in 2010, they had a website, and they used to have like little things on there. And I remember they would put, what they were doing. One of the things they used to post was, what books they were reading. And I think at one point Marcus, back in 2010, was reading, Bury My Heart on Wounded Knee. Good for him. Good for him reading the book. They recently, Mumford & Sons minus Winston, and I enjoy his podcast very much. I'm glad he's doing his podcast. It was nice to see him debate former Speaker of the House Pelosi and do a great job. I'm glad he's doing his thing. I enjoy his thing, but I want to see him playing the banjo again. They used to post what books they were reading on their webpage, and, I don't care what they read. I'm glad they're reading. I like to read. I'm glad they're reading. I don't care what they read. Just like recently, Mumford played for Harris Waltz. I don't care. Go play for Harris Waltz. I hope the people that were in the crowd got to enjoy Mumford & Sons and became a fan if they weren't a fan already. I don't care about a band or an actor's politics. I can separate the art from the artist. Mel Gibson doesn't strike me as a particularly nice person, but I love Lethal Weapon. I can watch Lethal Weapon 2, 3, pretty good. 4, love it. I love a good Mel Gibson movie. I love Braveheart. I love the Patriot. Would I want to hang out with Mel Gibson? Would I vote for Mel Gibson? No. But I can separate the art from the artist. Do I care that Mumford & Sons played for Kamala Harris? Could care less. I hope people in the audience that weren't fans are now fans. Do I care that Winston read a book that some people don't like? I don't care. I want to see Winston. This album needed Winston. The band isn't the same. And again, I understand they can't make the same Stomp and Holler record, but the band's not the same. And again, I'm glad he's doing his podcast. I'm glad he's doing his thing. His podcast is really good. He's really smart. I enjoy the conversations he has. I wish him all the success on the podcast, but I really wish they'd get the band back together. It's upsetting to me that because some people didn't like a book he read, and I'm never going to read that book. I care less about that book. I like books with karate. I like The Gray Man and Jack Carr. I don't care about the book he read. Do I care about the epic banjo solos he would do? Yes, that's what I care about. I want more banjo. I really think this record is lacking a little bit of that punch that I think Winston, whether he was playing guitar or banjo, would have given it. So I don't want to spend too much time, rehashing 2020. And, I'm glad the band is back. I'm glad Winston's got his podcast. But please, let's put all this stuff. I don't want to, bite my nose to spite my face. Just because someone read something that you don't like, then all of a sudden I can't, listen to the music that I like anymore. You got to be able to put it past the art and you got to be able to separate the art and the artist, in my opinion. Anyway, that's a little bit of a rant from someone that's been a fan of Mumford and Sons for a long time. And just, again, did I care they played for Harris? I could care less. What I care about is more people loving Mumford and Sons. So I don't care who the fans are. Again, if playing for Harris Waltz got more people into this group, great. I hope the people on the other side of the aisle who maybe are listening to Winston's podcast, don't know his music, they just know his politics, saw him debate Pelosi. I hope they discovered a band. So I really do hope they can put all that stuff, past them and get back to making some music. I need some banjo. But again, in terms of Rushmere, glad they have a new record. Glad it's not the same record. I'm a big fan of the Bodines. There was a point where the Bodines put out the same record over and over again. So I'm glad that they're doing something different. Wilder Minds was a tough listen at first, and the second and the third and fourth time, but they had to do it. They couldn't make Babel and Sigh No More over and over again. But it doesn't take away from just how awesome and epic those records are. And I think this album, which is good, again, B- to me, but I think it really is one or two songs short from that epicness. And again, if they had stopped at 6, I think that would be like, wow, what a great EP. But I just think at the end it just slowed up too much, and it was a little too much like, Marcus's solo record, which was slow. So again, I think some standout tracks: Malibu, Caroline, Rushmere, Monochrome, Truth, stand out. Where It Belongs, good song, nice way to, again, if it was an EP, it would have been a nice way to end the record. Anchor, a little too slow. Surrender gets better there by the end. Blood on the Page, too slow. Carry On, nice song, just a little too slow here at the end. I'm glad they're back. I hope they're having a good time. I hope they're making good music. I thought that was a great thing with Jimmy Fallon and, the lack of an intro and the long intro. It's fantastic. I'm glad they're back. I hope they're having fun. Let's just get the whole band back together. Who cares what people read? I should be happy that they're reading. It's nice to hear about, a rock star taking the time to read a book. But I'm just glad they're making music again. Pretty good album. Certainly a very pleasant listen. I enjoyed it. I had that long bus ride, and there's some great songs on here. I just think it's missing the punch of a Dust Bowl Dance or the punch of a song like Delta. This is my thoughts on Rushmere. Mumford & Sons, still one of my favorite bands in the world. But come on, let's get the band back together. Let's do it. Let's get them back. Let's get the banjo back. This is the Shogunstein out.